lacquer and cold brass under your palms. The arms of a throne it took 40 years to reach. An envoy from the west stands in the doorway and does not kneel. Behind you, a wall map shows an empire that once answered to a single name. A full quarter of it is shaded a color that isn't yours anymore. Don't ask him why he won't bow. You already know. Rewind 60 years. None of this exists yet. Not the throne, not the map, not the envoy who won't bow. There's only grass to the horizon in every direction and a boy who has never once been warm in winter. You will end up owning more land than any single person in history. You will not keep all of it, and it will not keep you warm either. 11 sheep. 2 of them cough in a way your mother, Sarnai, pretends not to hear. The Gares felt walls hold in smoke and mutton fat, and almost no heat at all. You want your own horse, not the family's, yours. In a winter where counting the herd twice doesn't change the number. Somewhere past that ridge, a man named Temujin is already binding the tribes into one fist. Horses at the tree lean before the dogs even bark. A rival clan takes the herd, the good felt, your father's bow. Everything but the gur itself, left standing out of what passes for mercy out here. Sarnai doesn't cry where you can see it. Therefore you don't either. By morning the 11 sheep are 3, and 3 won't survive the thaw. An old warrior named Chulyuan rides in behind the raiders' tracks. Too late to help, early enough for the wreckage to still be smoking. He offers no coin, only a bow, a place in his Arban, and a hand heavy on your shoulder. The string bites your draw thumb, raw, the first 100 pulls. Chulyuan doesn't promise it gets better. The arrow doesn't care whose son you are. Arban, 10 men, 1 unit, drawn on purpose from 10 different clans, so no one owes loyalty to blood over the group. 9 strangers become your family faster than blood ever did, because the Yassa, Chinggis Khan's law, makes you answer for each other's cowardice as much as your own courage. Dawn to dark. Mounted archery at a full gallop. An arrow loose the instant both hooves leave the ground. A boy named Ganbader rides 2 horses better than you ride one and makes sure the whole Arban knows it. Then a recruit in the Jaghun beside yours breaks and runs mid-drill. Therefore his whole 10-man unit kneels in the dirt at dusk, punished as one body for one man's fear. The law's oldest, coldest lesson. Nobody in your Arban runs. Not out of courage. Out of arithmetic. Word passes down from Chulyuan before sunrise. The Arban rides tonight. First blood, first real test past the drill ground straw man. Ganbader's unit rides beside yours. Close enough that outrunning him becomes its own kind of survival. The bow callus on your thumb has stopped bleeding. It's just numb now, and numb, you're starting to learn, is the more useful state. Torches, not dawn, light the enemy camp. Chulyuan's plan, your Arban riding point. A man twice your size comes at you out of the smoke. The bow already strung winds before the knife even clears its sheath. By the time the tents stop burning, you're a Jaghun commander, 100 men, earned in 1 night instead of 10 years. Your Kubi share, 2 silver ingots, your first. News reaches the Ordu from a trade route 600 miles west. A Mongol caravan under the Khan's own protection, slaughtered at a city called Otrar on the governor's order. A caravan is not an army, but it carried the Khan's seal, and the seal is the one thing this empire cannot let anyone touch and live. Therefore, within the week, the whole Ordu turns west. Weeks of riding blur into a single ache in your hips and a permanent grid of dust behind your teeth. Ganbader's Jaghun rides the opposite flank, close enough at night to hear his men's fires, far enough that you stop checking. Chulyuan says nothing about mercy on this march. Nobody asks him to. The walls of the first city rise out of the haze on the 9th week, taller than anything either of you has ever burned. Minghan commander now, 1,000 men answer to you alone. The city's walls hold 3 days against catapults built from its own orchard trees, then don't. Inside, the ruler who ordered the caravan killed is already gone, so the punishment lands on the city instead of the man. Smoke tastes like scorched wool at the back of your throat for a week after. Your share of the sack, 600 balish, silk, and a silence you don't examine too closely. Someone keeps a rough tally of the dead in this campaign. The number climbs past what any single mind can hold as individual faces, so it stops being faces at all. Chulyuan finds you at the tally wall, not to comfort you, just to stand near you a while. An empire that only grows, he says, forgets how to stop. You don't answer him. You're not sure yet that you disagree. An empire that only grows forgets how to stop. Word comes down from the Khan's own tent. Your 1,000 held the breach when 2 others broke, and the Khan wants men like that close, not just useful at a distance. The Keshig, his personal guard, 10,000 strong, chosen only by deed, takes you in. Gambator isn't chosen. He rides on the campaign's other wing without a single word to you about it, which somehow says everything. Tumen commander, Noyan, 10,000 men, a rank the Khan himself once held before there was an empire under him to hold it. Chinggis Khan dies the year you're confirmed, of causes the histories can't agree on. The empire he built somehow keeps expanding without him, which frightens you more than his death does. Balish move through your tent by the 1,000 now. You stop counting your own thumb's old scars. A relay rider changes horses at your post without slowing to a full stop, already 300 miles into a run that will end 600 more away by tomorrow night. The Yam carries grain prices, troop counts, a wedding announcement, all at the same reckless speed, the fastest messages on Earth for the next 6 centuries. It's the best thing this empire ever built. It's also how bad news travels exactly as fast as good. Möngke Khan dies in a siege camp in China, and by the one law, even the empire never bends. Only his bloodline can rule. 2 of his brothers claim the same throne inside the same season. Gambator backs the brother who will lose. Therefore, he corners you at the Kurultai's edge with the calm of a man who's already decided you picked wrong too. Chulyuan hasn't chosen yet. You beg him once to just stay out of it. You picked wrong, or Chulyuan did. Same thing now. Chulyuan rides for the side that holds the capital, the side you'd have picked too, and it isn't enough. A skirmish nobody bothers naming in the histories takes him 3 days before the war's outcome is even decided either way. Don't ask which side actually won that field. It doesn't matter anymore who did. Your thumb finds the old bow callus without being told to. It doesn't register anything. That's the part that scares you. The winning side remembers who held the line and rewards you with a province instead of a battlefield. Regional Noyan, governor of land wider than the steppe you grew up on. A paiza tablet, gold and stamped with the Khan seal, buys you fresh horses at every post between here and the capital. 11,000 Balish move through your ledger every year. You keep 300. The rest climbs the Yam north, out of your hands entirely. Your own relay post now. 200 fresh horses standing ready for riders who never explain themselves and never need to. A trader once told you the fastest courier in his own country covers 70 miles in a hard day. Yours cover 3 times that, and have for 40 years already. The Empire's real power was never the horde. It was always how fast a horde could hear. Under the Khan's peace, caravans move safer through your province than they ever did under their own kings, silk, spice, and a merchant class that grows fat calling it the Khan's road instead of anyone's country. Gambator administers the province beside yours now. Older, colder, civil in the specific way old enemies get once open war stops paying. Neither of you mentions Chulyuan's name at the border markers where your 2 territories meet. A tax officer under you schemes silver off 3 years of tribute rolls before the shortfall surfaces. The Yassa doesn't care that he's competent or that you like him. It cares that the law survives him more than he does. You sign the order yourself, the way Chulyuan once signed his own harder ones. Word of the execution reaches the capital faster than the silver ever did. And the capital, this time, is watching you specifically. The empire that once answered to 1 name now answers to 4. Golden Horde, Chagatai, Ilkhanate, and the Khan's own line in the east. And yours is one of them. A throne, a seal, 90,000 Balish a year that no longer climbs north to anyone above you. Not the whole house. A quarter of one, with your name freshly carved over the door. Only Chinggis Khan's blood can sit a Khanate's throne. The one law even the Civil War never touched. A hall in your capital holds the painted faces of every Khan of your line. For so far, a 5th frame left deliberately, uncomfortably empty. A letter arrives from the Ilkhanate that month, sealed in a hand you don't recognize, asking after a debt no one in your court will explain to you. You set it aside. You don't answer it. Gambator rules the Khanate bordering yours now, and peace between you is a marriage alliance neither of you wanted, negotiated over tea neither of you drinks. He's grayer than Chulyuan was the day he found you in the wreckage of your first raid. Some nights, he says, he still hears Chulyuan's name and reaches for an apology he's never once actually offered. You don't offer him one either. Your own Keshig now, chosen the same way the Khan once chose you, by deed, not blood. The throne you sit is real, the guards at your door are real, and none of it changes the fifth empty frame in the portrait hall or the letter still unanswered on your desk. Then, at midwinter, a rider from the eastern capital arrives with a summons carrying the Great Khan's own seal, not a Khanate's. Khagan, Great Khan, the title Chinggis himself held, offered to you at a Kurultai that 3 of the 4 Khanates don't bother sending anyone to attend. Lacquer and coal brass under your palms, exactly as it will be decades from now, exactly as it is right now for the first time. 400,000 Balish move through the whole empire's treasury a year, on paper. On paper is doing quite a lot of the work in that sentence. Your treasury stops moving silver at all and starts printing paper instead. Mulberry bark pressed thin, stamped with your seal, worth exactly as much as your word is. You sign the decree yourself, refuse it in payment, or print your own, and the penalty is death, printed on the note like a dare. It works. Merchants who've never met you accept a square of bark as gold, because your name is on it. Not one of them has ever seen your face. A herald rides the yam from the western Khanates with an answer you already knew was coming before he opens his mouth. 3 of the 4 no longer recognize Khagan as a title with any real teeth in it, only a courtesy, extended or not at their pleasure. The seal buys silk. The seal buys silver. The seal has never once, not today, bought back the men who used to kneel without being asked. 3 of 4. The 4th was always going to be the hard one. Alone in the map room, after everyone else has gone to sleep, your seal ring sitting where the bow callus used to be, worn smooth by 40 years instead of a bowstring. The Ilkhanate's letter is still on the desk, still unopened, the name on it still unfamiliar. Somewhere past the western horizon, a boy you'll never meet is counting a herd that doesn't add up the same way you once did. You don't open the letter tonight, either.